Still to come on Real Orange, we head west of the West and find ourselves in the middle of California history. Stick around.
History books are usually filled with dates and facts and figures. Our next guest wanted to shake things up a bit. His novel, California West of the West, tells the history of California in a truly unique way. We welcome San Clemente resident and author Adam Collings. This is a big book with an awful lot of information in there. How did you become so interested in writing about the West?
Well, I've always been fascinated with history, California history in particular. While I was living in South America, I found myself being presented with a little history that was scripted by Antonio de Herrera. He was like a journalist, like the both of you at the time of the Spanish conquest, scribbling, taking notes on what was going on. The work was fascinating. In the middle of all that, reading this in Santiago, Chile, I found myself reading about California history as he was recording reports coming in from a guy named Juan Rodriguez sailing off to a place called California. It hooked me. And it was fascinating, the report that he gave, and I've been investigating it ever since.
This is your 51st book, I understand.
If you count everything, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Including much smaller works.
Much smaller. This is a big one. Got a lot of info in here. How do you actually describe your writing?
Well, and if I may, I'd like to point out that while this is a good read, I humbly submit, it's also not fiction. This is history. What I attempted to do, my heroes are Robert Louis Stevenson and Bret Harte. What I attempted to do was, this is such a great adventure, was to tell it as if it were an adventure story, but it's history.
So it's true. The characters are
true.
real.
These are all real people. This is actually what happened, and there's a 78-page bibliography at the end of this book in which I've recorded all of my primary source materials that I reviewed, people that I've interviewed, sites that I've investigated. So I'm not making this up. But I've, at the same time, had a great time with our own heritage, our own literary heritage as Californians, playing with things like Zorro, Montalvo, the Walt Disney of the Middle Ages, some of these characters that wrote about a fictional California, wove it all together.
Okay. It would be a daunting task. I would be nervous to write a book where there's so much fact that has to be checked and double-checked. You must have an editor who's
I have worked on this particular title. This is my Disneyland. I've worked on this title for 28 years. Yeah.
Wow.
This has been my life's work. It's been so much fun. I wrote it for myself, and I wrote it because I felt concerned. Too many people, if anyone's going to suggest that they're speaking for California, they need to advocate for everybody. And I attempted to do that in this story.
Now, what kind of people would really enjoy this book and get the most out of it?
It's very reader friendly. It's for grown-ups. I know that our fourth graders are all studying California mission history, and a lot of parents come to me and they want me to sign this. They're going to give it to their kids. It's for us, big people. But anyone that has even a passing interest in California history or literature from California will enjoy this.
Now, most of your research, how was it done?
I've been so fortunate. One private archive after another opening up to me during the course of these many years. The Franciscan Archives in Santa Barbara, the Southwest Museum Archives, the Carpolis, a private collection up also in Santa Barbara. Many places like that have afforded me access to documents that many people haven't even taken the time to review.
We're going to get copies of this.
Absolutely, it's yours.
No, where
at your favorite independent bookseller and or at Barnes & Noble or Borders.
Okay,
excellent.
Good. Double check. California West of the West, and we thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming on, Adam.